Welcome back, everybody. Today we're making meatloaf. A viewer requested meatloaf because they have some issues keeping the meatloaf moist. I don't know if we're going to have a fix for that or if this recipe is even going to be good for a solution for that. But there is a meatloaf recipe in the book. My grandmom's made meatloaf before. I don't really remember if it was yay or nay, but you know, meatloaf's meatloaf, right? This is a pretty basic meatloaf recipe. I mean, there are no extras. There's no frills added to this. It took a lot in me to not add even just garlic powder. Yeah, there's no garlic in this whatsoever. It's like breaking my heart. But we're gonna get started. I'm gonna let you know everything that's going into the meatloaf mixture. First, we're gonna have 1.5 pounds of ground beef. Just beef. There's no pork. There's no nothing else. It's just ground beef. Simple. And then there's going to be 1 small onion chopped. I diced mine just because sometimes I feel like the onion doesn't cook all the way. I like mine a little bit more tender, so I'm going to make it a little bit smaller to make sure that it, you know, cooks all the way through. All right. And then we have 1/3 cup of ketchup or catsup. I did Google it and I figured out that the reason it's spelled C-A-T-S-U-P is because that's how they spelled it then. But I think it was Heinz who, when they were trying to break away from all the other ones, decided to try and be different and spelled it ketchup. Don't quote me. I Googled it. I Googled it a while ago. Hopefully that's really what it is. If not, now you have a new story that might not be true. Then we have 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. 1 egg already cracked and dumped, no shells present, and 1/3 cup of breadcrumbs. I use Italian breadcrumbs. I think it just adds a little bit more flavor. You can use panko, you can, you know, break up breadcrumbs. This actually says you can use cracker crumbs. Or probably use stale bread. I don't, you know, whatever you want, man. But I got to go by what this says. This also did say that if you wanted, you could use chili sauce or barbecue sauce in place of the ketchup. This is, like I said, super basic. I mean, I usually would add like a ketchup and brown sugar mixture on top of my meatloaf loaf, like an icing. But I'm not doing it. No frills, no thrills, I suppose. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna mix everything together, put it in our pan. It does say a loaf pan. It says press into a greased 8x4-inch loaf pan or a 6 cup ring mold. I don't know what that is. Like 6 cup ring mold, like a ring? Like it makes me think of cupcakes, like a cupcake muffin pan, but that's 12, not 6. You can actually use a muffin pan. You would just put it in for less time. It would be like 25 to 30 minutes instead of the hour. I am not using a loaf pan. I am using just a Pyrex glass pan. I'm gonna make it into a loaf shape and, you know, it's gonna hold it. So, you know, whatever. Let's get everything mixed into our bowl. All of our ingredients. We got the ground beef, ketchup, onions. I'm going to try and break them apart a little bit as they go in because sometimes when you chop them or dice them, they tend to stick together and I don't want them big clumps stuck in the meat. Worcestershire sauce, salt and pepper, 1 egg, bloop, and last but not least, the breadcrumbs. So I'm going to use gloves because I just don't feel like having all that meat all up in my fingers and having to deal with it. Use gloves, don't use gloves. I don't care. Do what you want in your own home. All right, so now we're gonna give this a squeeze. This is my least favorite part of meatloaf. Maybe it's the texture. I don't like it, but I gotta do what I gotta do. So you just want to mix it. You just want to mix it, squeeze it all together until all of your ingredients are well incorporated. If you're not using a loaf pan, just shape it into a loaf, shape it into a heart, shape it into a square. I don't really care. You know, it's the same amount of meat. If you just want to check your meat to make sure it's cooked all the way through. And really it's ground beef. Doesn't have to be. It can be however you like to eat it. Some people like eating stuff like that, medium rare. Ground beef for me, I like it well done. So that temperature is actually 165 if you were wondering. Internal temp 165 will let you know that it is cooked all the way through. So I've got it in a loaf right here. I'm actually just gonna, since I don't have to take my gloves off, I'm gonna move it over to the pan and then we'll talk about it. Huh. Big old loaf, baby. Bad. That's a bad loaf, baby. So this is our loaf, baby. Just looks like raw meat with onions in it. I'm gonna stick her in the oven, which is preheated to 350 for 1 hour or until internal temp is 165. And then we're gonna take it out, let it cool, give her a taste, and you know, I'll let you know how it is. Hopefully it's not dry. Hopefully it's moist. Moist. That word doesn't bother me. Does it bother you? What else do you add to your meatloaf? Let me know in the comments. I would normally have added like garlic powder and, like I said, added the top to it. Probably just eat it with ketchup now. So let me know. How do you do it? What do you do? Catch you in a bit. There she is. Nice and brown. Smells like a meat, baby. Ignore the fact that that pan is a different shape. We don't talk about it. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick in my meat thermometer and check and see what the internal temperature is. It's a loaf, so it's chunky. You want to stick it in the widest part of the meat. So I'm going to stick that in there. Let it go. That's at about 130. What are you looking like on the inside there, bucko? You're not done yet, are you? Stick her all the way in. What are you saying now? It's not done. I'm gonna put my meat baby back in the oven. Our loaf of meat is finished. I'm gonna take off these. They're not real hens. So this is what it actually looks like on the inside. Let's see if I can do this. Ooh, can you see it? It's cooked all the way through. Okay, let's give it a try. See how it is. It's a pretty tasty hunk of meat. No frills added. Just like it says in the recipe, it's very basic meatloaf. It's good. Excuse me while I finish this. So this is a really good meatloaf for what it is, for it being a really basic meatloaf recipe that came out really well. It wasn't dry. I went a little bit longer, probably like an hour and 10-15 minutes. That all depends on how thick your meatloaf really is. This is really good. I liked it. This will be the meatloaf recipe, as simple as it is. This will be the one that I use. I'll probably still add my little brown sugar ketchup glaze on top, but without it, delicious. Liked it, loved it. So yeah, if you want to make it, use this one. But let's look at what we're gonna do next time. Is that pan hot? Excuse me, meatloaf. All right, now we gotta find it. Which way do I have to go? This way? We're gonna go back to the brownie page because, again, somebody else had suggested that we make something else that was on this page, 6-layer bars. I've never made 6-layer bars, and I don't even know if my grandma had ever made them. But this couple, actually, a husband and wife, had mentioned that this is probably going to be a really good recipe too. So I'm gonna show you the recipe. Hopefully you can see that. 6-layer bars. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I don't love coconut, but I'm gonna do it. I'm probably gonna like it. My husband's gonna love it. I'm a little bit confused because it says 6-layer bars. It's not really like layering. I don't know. It's all gonna kind of like meld together. We'll see, right? So come on back next time and see how we make these 6-layer bars. I hope you had fun making this meatloaf. I had extra good fun. Cleaned my plate. Lickety split. So come on back next time and let's make some 6-layer bars. I hope you had a good time. See ya. Bye.